Hey everyone, this is Razador's Pokemon Shenanigans, and it's time for our first invasive species run in Hoenn. In Kanto, Trico had a good start, but really ran out of gas by the end. Will Bulbasaur fare the same here in Hoenn, or will it perform well in the Land of Water? Taking a look at the base stat total, well, going by the stats, I'm not confident. Decent special attack and defense, but everything else is below 50, so we're frail and slow. However, we have a rather useful tool at our disposal to compensate for this. Leech Seed at 7 is nice for regaining a bit of health, but what's really going to help us out here are Sleep Powder and Growth, so two useful tools, I guess. Growth boosts your special attack by 1 stage, and Sleep Powder has 75 accuracy, so while it's not terribly reliable, it's always worth using because the ability to put enemies to sleep is phenomenal. Just like Trico, Bulbasaur gets an egg move. If you're new here, good to have you along for the ride. Rules for this series are in the description below, but to sum it up, Pokemon running in this series have Max IVs, 1 egg move, a hidden power of my choosing, and I pick their nature. If there are multiple abilities to choose from, I'll pick the one I think is better. This is for the purpose of full-on optimization, and I thought the addition of an egg move would be fun. As we're playing in Pokemon 4 into the regions in which we're playing, I wanted to try to capture the invasive species feel as best I could. I tweaked the save file, which is why when we fought the Poochyena, I didn't have our egg move. Speaking of the egg move, here's Bulbasaur's Gen 3 list. Nothing terribly great on here. With same type, Petal Dance would be pretty good, but I'm not a fan of the confusion after the 2 to 5 turns it lasts. Magical Leaf seemed like the best idea to me, as not only does it have 60 base power and we get same type, so it's solid for the early game, but it also bypasses any and all accuracy and evasion modifiers, so we won't have to worry too much about stuff like Double Team or Sand Attack. Grass Whistle is redundant since we have Sleep Powder, which is a better sleeping move anyway due to the higher accuracy. Last but certainly not least, let's look over our TM moves and check out our coverage. Grass, Normal, and Poison for attacking moves. Well, at least we get the same type from the Grass and Poison, though we'll primarily be a special attacker, so I don't think we're going to bother with Sludge Bomb. Plus, you get a backtrack to do to get it after you get the 5th badge. Sunny Day could be useful with Solar Beam. It might snag that TM during the long trek to Moss Deep. And now, one thing I can say for certain is that Bulbasaur, like its Hoenn counterpart, will defeat Roxanne effortlessly. This would be the case even without our egg move, but having Magical Leaf just really speeds things up here. You move the D-pad over to Magical Leaf, you just tap A, and then you win. Nosepass might take a couple more hits due to it being pure Rock type, but it's kinda whatever. Best thing about battling Roxanne is that it's gonna be one of the few fights whose strategy isn't centered around 75 accuracy Sleep Powder, and we're gonna savor those at every opportunity. Once we hit up Dewford, we go to Granite Cave first, deliver Steven's letter, just to get that out of the way. Also, grabbing the Hidden Everstone because it's useful to have, and it does shave off a bit of time whenever you're leveling up just grinding off random trainers. Now, I don't think we're going to have that equipped for Brawly, because Brawly has Machop and Makuhita, and they hit pretty hard, although we do have one advantage going into this fight, being that we're part Poison type, unlike Trico and Hoenn, who is only Grass type. Bulbasaur will have a bit of an easier time here because Poison resists fighting. His opening Machop does have Seismic Toss, which makes typing not really matter because it deals damage based on the level. I think that's going to be the most dangerous move for us to look out for, but let's find out, shall we? Well, Magical Leaf almost one-shots Machop, and you can see our Poison typing coming in clutch there. 8 damage from Karate Chop, that's sweet. And gotta say, loving this crit luck, even Tackle getting in on that critical hit lovin'. With both Super Potions used up, Machop goes down with 2 follow-up Magical Leaves. And as Makuhita comes out, yeah, it's gonna take about 3 shots to take out this guy. Bulk Up doesn't matter, and neither does Arm Thrust, which, although it does hit 5 times, thanks to our resistance, we don't take much damage for it. It also helps that he didn't crit us. Well, I'm glad Brawly didn't use Seismic Toss, which would have been way more dangerous against us, but hey, he's the gym leader, not me. So far, we've got us a nice little early streak going, but the second rival battle is coming up, one of the most difficult rival battles, especially in solo challenges here. However, with Sleep Powder and Leech Seed on our side, we just might have a chance. I really don't want to have to level up just to beat this fight. We are trying to compete with Trico's time and level, after all. Now, while she does have Combuskin, she doesn't lead off with it. She sends out Wilmer first, which we are faster than. 1 Magical Leaf, easily able to one-shot it. Next up is Combuskin, however. We have to watch out for Focus Energy and Ember, which can certainly ruin us. Thankfully, we put it to sleep on the first try with Sleep Powder. And we hit it with Leech Seed. 90 accuracy, I would hope that it hits. Well, Combuskin does wake up early, goes for Focus Energy, but no problem at all. Our follow-up Sleep Powder does put him back to sleep. We go for Magical Leaf. Man, that damage is low. Not surprising, but, yeah, that must be said. Thankfully, he doesn't wake up. 2 Magical Leaves with some Leech Seed sapping away at him takes him out. And all that's left is Shroomshin. And funny enough, you can actually put Grass types to sleep with Sleep Powder in Gen 3. Caveman days, am I right? And to make a long story short, the Shroomsh never wakes up. We're going for Magical Leap because even though it's resisted with the same type, it's going to deal more damage. Also, it doesn't make contact. I don't want to get hit by Effect Spore. That was a bit of a war of attrition, but in the end, we triumphed. However, our trials and tribulations aren't over just yet because next up is Watson, and in Ruby, he has a Magnemite and a Magneton, so 2 of his 3 Pokemon will resist our Magical Leaf. Gotta make sure we slap on a Sherry Berry because Watson loves Thunder Wave. Now, as he leads off with Magnemite, obviously, we're gonna go for Sleep Powder, hope that it hits, and thankfully it does on the first try. Very nice. I figure that we'll forego Leech Seed and just go for as much damage as possible with Magical Leaf. It's going to take 3 to take him out. This is actually good because we want Watson to use a Super Potion on Magnemite so he doesn't have it for later in the fight. Unfortunately, before going down, Magnemite does wake up, uses Thunder Wave, but our Sherry Berry cures us, so no problem. Things take a turn for the worse as Voltorb comes out, paralyzes us off a Spark. Magical Leaf does good damage, but with that low of health, he goes for Self-Destruct and takes us to 31. And unfortunately for us, as Magneton comes out, we miss with Sleep Powder, so gonna reset there. No way we can win the fight going forward. That's not a problem. I expected this might happen. Watson is usually one of the more annoying gym leaders to fight. That's not true if you're playing as a ground type, then Watson becomes the easiest gym leader, but for everything else, he can be pretty annoying to fight. That's especially true when we're introducing Sleep Powder luck into the equation. That 1 in 4 chance to miss really hurts us in this fight. Still, we're at a decent enough level to beat this guy, and you saw from the first attempt that if things go just a little bit better, we can come out of this victorious. So, let's go ahead and try again, shall we? And I figured, just like before, we're going to forego Leech Seed. We will use it on Magneton to help us out because we're going to need it, but for Magnemite, nah, we'll be alright. You already know the strat for this guy, and what's really going to be the deal breaker for this fight is that if Voltorb doesn't paralyze us with Spark and doesn't go for Self-Destruct, though when Voltorb's at certain health, he will always go for it, kind of like Fortress on Koga's team in the Elite Four back in the Gold, Silver, Crystal. I'd like to have our Sherry Berry for later in the fight, but with this many turns to take out Magnemite, really can't be helped. Wow, he went for Self-Destruct immediately. Okay, well, that changes things a bit. Though we're paralyzed, thankfully we don't lose our turn and do put Magneton to sleep, and we seed Magneton. Perfect. Now, because we are part Grass type, the best move that he can use against us is Sonic Boom, a normal move that always deals 20 damage with 90 accuracy. Because we resist Shockwave, it shouldn't deal as much damage, though it is fully accurate, and like Magical Leaf, it doesn't check for accuracy or evasion. Well, looks like I spoke too soon. Supersonic is also a dangerous move he can use against us. Wonderful. But if we do hit ourselves, Leech Seed can somewhat offset that. And as you've been bearing witness to, Leech Seed is the linchpin to our success in this fight. Check this out, Magical Leaf brings Magneton to just a sliver, but Leech Seed coming in to save the day. Alright, our next destination, Mount Chimney, time to battle Maxi for the first time. This one should be pretty hard because he does have Camerupt, but more dangerously, Golbat. Golbat double resists Magical Leaf, and we will have Secret Power. But still, it's, our physical attack's not great, so it's gonna probably take a couple tries. Our already poor attack is cut even further by Mighty Inna's Intimidate, and you'll see that we have growth. I ended up replacing Leech Seed. It was super useful for the early game, but we're gonna benefit more from growth. I mean, case in point, Mighty Inna is almost a one-shot with 1 growth of Magical Leaf. Doesn't matter if he heals. As we go to finish him off, he swaps in for Golbat, so this isn't good. And you'll see, even with a critical hit, that's not great damage, though more than I was expecting. And we also have Hidden Power, super effective against Golbat, so let me know in the comments which one you think we picked. Camerupt comes out, does about a third of our health with Ember, and thanks to him being part ground type, we're able to deal pretty decent damage with Magical Leaf. Again, healing doesn't really matter, especially because we're faster. The barely alive Mighty Inna comes out last, and Intimidate for a second time doesn't matter because, well, we have Magical Leaf, and although we have Sand Attack, you can see just how useful Magical Leaf is going to be. Now, despite the minor hiccup with Watson, we've been doing really good so far. Bulbasaur's been killing it in the early game, though this was the same for Trico, and once Trico hit about the halfway point, really started to slip. Bulbasaur has to fight Flannery next, who has 2 Slugma and a Torkoal. One of her Slugma has Overheat, I believe, and Light Screen, which will be annoying. One of them has Flamethrower, and Torkoal, of course, has Overheat with Whiter. Not that Whiter matters, because, well, one Overheat from Torkoal is definitely going to one-shot us from full health. Sub 2 hours before the 4th gym, looking pretty good. Now, obviously, our strategy here is put Slugma number 1 to sleep and set up as many growths as we can. Now, this is dangerous because I do believe the first Slugma is the one with Overheat. Now, it can miss by 10%, but if it hits us, even Slugma should take us out. We're able to set up 3 growths, and it wakes up. Thank the gods it misses with Overheat. But I speak too soon. Sleep Powder, 1 more growth, it wakes up. This time it goes for Light Screen. Well, time to put that bad boy back to sleep. Go for our 5th growth, and it's still asleep. Very, very nice. And we're topped off now. Good to go. Wakes up, goes for Overheat, and, holy crap, 1 health. Oh, thank goodness that wasn't Torkoal who hit us with that. And even better, Light Screen's off, so time to take this one out. And the second Slugma will be. We did a ton of damage with Light Screen up, so yeah, we're pretty much at Torkoal already. Alright, it's all or nothing. Going for Magical Leaf, and wow, I can't believe we beat Flannery first try. We really lucked out there with that Overheat damage roll. Man, go Bulbasaur. Now, next up is Norman, and coming up, I'm kind of nervous about having gotten rid of Leech Seed, because Leech Seed would be extremely useful in this upcoming fight, because he has 2 slacking. That would give us back a ton of health each turn. You know, in fact, when I'm watching this footage, I'm like, you know, what I should have done, I should have just sucked it up and burst down Golbat with a powered-up growth Magical Leaf. Because Hidden Power was nice for dealing with Golbat in that fight, but we didn't need it for Flannery at all. I mean, we wouldn't have needed Leech Seed either, but having it in this fight would be super beneficial to us. But no sense crying over spilt milk. It's going to be Sleep Powder, Growth, Magical Leaf. Let's go. Alright then, both Sleep Powders missed, and because slacking is faster, we do have to reset here. Now, in addition to Facade straight up being able to 2-shot us, another obstacle in this fight is Yawn. I mean, not at first, because we can just slap on a Chesto Berry and get cured of our sleep the first time around. And fortunately for us, Slacking, due to the Truant ability, can only attack us every other turn, so we can set up growth safely at least once. Well, that's what I thought anyway, because Slacking has Encore, so now we're forced to use growth while he can wail on us. Now, I believe Encore lasts from 2 to 5 turns, and while growth is powering us up, which is nice, well, having 33 health out of 88 for 2 more Pokemon on this team isn't great. Thankfully, we do one-shot Slacking. That is good. Vigoroth is unsurprisingly faster, but I am surprised to see that we survived with 1 health off of its Facade. But Slacking 2 knows Facade, so yeah. So we can't go ham with our growth, so we're going to have to be careful when we use it. Problem is that Sleep Powder's turns for keeping the Pokemon asleep is also random, so a lot of luck introduced in the equation for this battle. However, if we could just get to Slacking 2 with decent health, it might opt for Focus Punch instead, because Focus Punch, the AI says, will knock us out, even though we do resist it. It's still very strong, and Slacking using it. But it will go for it, and Focus Punch is a 2-turn move. If we attack it while it's charging, which of course we're going to do, we'll knock it out of it, and we should be good. And after doing tons of battles and failing quite spectacularly, as you saw a nice little gauntlet of, and I had to do a fade-in because I had to do a lot of battles to figure this out. 4 growths is the key, because when he wakes up, we'll go for Magical Leaf, and he wakes up on a turn he's loafing around. When Norman heals, Slacking next turn he's loafing around, so we take it out with full health. Slash from Vigoroth brings us to 59 health, but we're easily able to one-shot it with Magical Leaf. Slacking 2 did go for Facade, but, you know, we have 4 health, and you see it on screen. Nice, solid one-shot. Oh man, even at the end, I needed just a bit of luck with a damage roll there, and we got it. That took a fair bit of time. I'm gonna say about 20 minutes. I for sure had worse, like in the Aron run. Oh god, I don't want to remember that. But Bulbasaur still looking pretty strong, although the Flying Gym's up next, so that's really gonna test out our little fella's mettle here. Now, there is a fun little quirk for Winona, and this will be true for Wally later on as well, because both of them have Altaria, and Altaria's ability in Gen 3 is Natural Cure. When you swap it out, it's cured of its status problem, so if I were to poison it, it would swap into something else, which is fine, really. Now, we can take advantage of that here in Gen 3, because if she sends out Altaria after Swallow, whom she leads off with, also that's a scary one to lead off with, because it has Aerial Ace, it's going to be way faster than us. Yeah, it's not going to be fun. But as long as Altaria isn't sent out last, which it shouldn't be because she does have a Pelipper, which is part water type, and just by typing, that's the one we're the best against. My plan is to slap Altaria with some Sleep Powder, force Winona to swap out, that way we get a free shot, whether with Hidden Power or Magical Leaf. Now, one thing that really sets apart the Kanto runs from the Hoenn runs here in Invasive Species is that when you defeat Lieutenant Surge in Kanto, you get access to Fly. However, here in Hoenn, the Kanto mons won't have access to Fly until they defeat Winona. But despite the fact that Trico had access to Fly much earlier, aside from the hiccup that was Watson and the, I'm going to say, bit of a roadblock that was Norman, look at that, we're sub 3 hours before the 6th gym. Bulbasaur is really trucking along here. Well, the Bulb's going to have to bring his A-game here. Swallow comes out, goes for a double team. Thank goodness we hit with Sleep Powder. Stays asleep, we go for Growth. It wakes up, goes for Aerial Ace, does well over half of our health, and thankfully Hidden Power doesn't miss, taking Swallow down. Ah, wow, she sent out Pelipper second. Interesting. We missed with Sleep Powder, it goes for Aerial Ace, leaving us at 37. The second one does hit, however. We slip in one Growth, big risk there, and Magical Leaf does in fact one-shot Pelipper. Awesome. Well, somehow we outspeed Altaria. I figured to go for Hidden Power, takes it out. Yeah, if you haven't guessed, we went with Ice-type Hidden Power. I thought that would be best for Bulbasaur's coverage, but that said, we still have to deal with Skarmy, which Hidden Power is not that useful against. I say that as we KO it with Hidden Power. Man, Winona first try, loving that. Our setup in Invasive Species really paid off in this fight. This would have been super difficult without what we have going for us. I figure for Winona, we would have had to rely on Return for raw power. Sleep Powder, of course, we would have had to use that a lot more, and by the time I got to Altaria, I was like, you know what, we're too low on health, so just go for Hidden Power. Maybe we can try out our Natural Cure strategy that I came up with against Wally, but he's not till a bit later on in the game, so, well, I gotta prep up for Tate and Liza. Nothing real important going on right now. Also, we're gonna go grab the TM for Giga Drain. All you need for that is to go south of Mount Pyre. There's some girl you talk to, you show her a grass Pokemon, and she gives you the TM for it. Speaking of which, we'll slap on a Chesto Berry because Lunatone has Hypnosis, and we'll go ahead and teach Giga Drain right here. Man, Magical Leaf was awesome in this run, but it's time to replace our Egg move with something that has the same base power, but also heals us for half the damage we deal. 3 hours, 34 minutes while Bulbasaur is crushing Trico right now. Hot dang, son. Now, for my second Pokemon, I just went with my HM Zigzagoon. It has Dig, so they're just going to take it out, and Dig can't damage these guys anyway. Alright, I misspoke earlier, said I got rid of Magical Leaf, which still was very useful this run, but Hidden Power, we can just buy it, so I got rid of that for this fight. Might as well test out damage since it has the same base power as Giga Drain, and yeah. Okay, so we're going to have to go for Solrock first, probably. Now, of course, past me, who played this run a couple of months ago, didn't quite figure that little tidbit out. So what I'm doing here is testing out damage against Solrock and Lunatone, trying to figure out what I just said was the best idea. Of course, if I could put both of them to sleep and power up just a little bit with Growth, this wouldn't be a problem. But that's much easier said than done when you're going on a 2v1 here. And to make matters worse, Solrock has Sunny Day, which boosts the power of fire moves. It also makes Solar Beam a one-turn move, but we don't have the TM for it, and we haven't learned it ourselves yet. But I say that because Solrock also has Flamethrower, which is super effective against us, and powered up by Sunny Day, I think that would do more damage than Psychic. Well, it definitely would do more damage than Psychic. But one thing is for sure, we have to put Lunatone to sleep, because Lunatone has Light Screen. If that goes up, well, we're in quite a bit of trouble. But yeah, going after Solrock would be the best idea, right? Well, past me still never figured that little tidbit out. I mean, I think I did, but I was like, you know what, Lunatone just does more damage consistently with Psychic, so better to take that out. Also Light Screen, and it has Calm Mind as well. So going after Lunatone isn't the worst idea, but going after Solrock first because it has more special defense would have definitely made this fight easier. And things end up working out pretty well for us. I mean, Magical Leaf against Lunatone doesn't do all that much damage, unfortunately. But, thanks to our trusty Zigzagoon, which you need in order to battle Tate and Liza in the first place, Zigzagoon soaks the hit from Psychic from Lunatone, allowing us to take it out, so now it's one-on-one. So Solrock wakes up and brings us down super low, low enough for Overgrowth to activate, which allows us to one-shot Solrock with Giga Drain. That heals us for a decent amount too, that's cool. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and head on back over to Slateport and buy TM10 for Hidden Power. You can buy as many as you want, as long as you have 3,000 Poké Dollars. Now, as we make our way to the vendor and that menu opens up, you'll see that we don't have a whole lot in the way of money. That's because every now and then when I have enough, I'll come back here, and I'll feed Bulbasaur some calciums to make its special attack a little bit better. And yes, no misspeaking this time, we are getting rid of Magical Leaf, and like I said before, extremely useful throughout this entire run. Would have loved to have kept it the whole way, but honestly, we don't need to now. The one thing that really hurts us with getting rid of Magical Leaf, however, is that Giga Drain, even with full power point ups, has substantially less power points available to it than Magical Leaf. So Hidden Power Ice is going to have to start pulling a bit more weight around here, which, that's fine, it's 70 base power, so not a problem. The heart of our strategy in pretty much every major battle is still Sleep Powder, so against Maxie, no surprise here that we're going to try and go for it. We do miss and eat a real nasty takedown. Thankfully, our follow-up Sleep Powder does hit. Now, we do slip in a Growth, and we're about to go for Giga Drain. We get hit by Swagger as it wakes up. We have a Person Berry just for this fight, because that's really annoying to deal with. Maxie then swaps into Crobat, which I didn't plan for at all. I just went for Hidden Power to save power points, and, well, that kind of worked out for us. Maxie brings Mightyena back up, goes for a Super Potion, but doesn't matter. Not nearly enough to save it from Hidden Power Ice. Well, next up is Camerupt, and it's faster than us. I'm surprised by that, actually. I say that because Amnesia is going to cripple our strategy going forward here, being that we're using all special attacks. See, this time when Maxie goes for a Super Potion, it's very dangerous because we don't deal a whole lot of damage. Well, I would have been correct about that if not for that timely critical hit. That's nice. Man, Bulbasaur. Man, what a bro. That's why I named him Bulbasaur. You don't mess with the best starter from Kanto. Okay, so Wallace, we get hit by Attract, power through it, put little old Love Disc to sleep, and unfortunately we lose not 1 turn, but 2 turns to Attraction as we're unable to power up. Fortunately, we are able to get Growth the 3rd time around, and it stays asleep just long enough for us to hit it with Giga Drain. Nice one-shot. Now, next up, Wallace will send out Celio, being that it's part Ice-type. We're able to put it to sleep, and we're going to want to set up another Growth or 2. I think about it, and after the first one, I'm like, you know what? Not going to take any risks here. It does have Body Slam as well. Don't want to get paralyzed off of that. Next up is Milotic. Obviously, it's faster than us. Does quite a bit of damage with Ice Beam. Unfortunately, not Overgrow worth of damage. I had put it to sleep because I wasn't sure if we would one-shot it, but turns out we didn't have to use Sleep Powder at all because it is a one-shot. Whiscash is next. It's double weak to Grass, so obviously we're taking that out with a single Giga Drain. And last up is a remnant of old internet, good old Sea King, F yeah. Unfortunately, he's not very awesome today. Oh man, so Wally's next, and remember when I was talking about Natural Cure against Winona earlier? Well, because Wally leads off with Altaria, we can totally cheese his AI with this fun, simple little trick. Now, before we battle the big bad Wally, let's go ahead and check our playtime here. I'm gonna drop a save here. We clock in at 4 hours, 42 minutes. Yeah, unless we have, like, the worst Elite Four ever. Pretty sure Bulbasaur's got this in the bag. Okay, so we put Altaria to sleep, and Wally swaps out. That has the added benefit of letting us set up a free Growth. However, we do still have to get past Gardevoir, and you saw he almost one-shot us with Psychic. Fortunately for us, Gardevoir never wakes up, and we're able to get back to full health courtesy of Giga Drain. Altaria's put back to sleep, swaps out to Delcatty. That's a much more favorable matchup for us. Well, Delcatty's the one-shot. Bring Altaria back out here because I want to set up another free Growth. We set up that Growth, are faster than Roselia, and bye-bye one-shot Hidden Power. Okay, we'll go ahead and stop bullying Altaria here. We have more than enough Growths. I mean, we're still going to deal with Magneton, but I mean, it's going to stay asleep. We're going to be just fine. Okay, so before we go ahead and fight the Elite Four, we're going to have us a little ring around the rosy around the world here. Go ahead and pick up some items that I missed along the way because I was trying to go fast. And I did need HMs for some of them, like the rare candy we can get back at Petalburg. There's a rare candy west of Falarbor we need both Surf and Waterfall to get, so yeah. I also skipped them because I couldn't get to them, but even if I could have, I would have made a beeline straight for the finish, then gone back because that is a little bit quicker. There's also quite a bit of goodies east of Dewford on the ocean there, which we're going to go get, but not going to show you through all of it because not really needed. We want to get to the Elite Four and start throwing down, which I think Bulbasaur should do okay in. I am a little bit concerned about Sydney and Phoebe. Glacia, not too much because we have Growth Giga Drain for most of her team, and Hidden Power Ice is going to help tremendously against Drake. Steven, not too sure about, so we'll kind of figure that out when we get to him, because Skarmory's going to be a nightmare either way. Now, as you guys are fully aware, Sydney leads off with Mighty, and Intimidate we don't really care about all that much, but what we're going to have to watch out for in this fight is Sand Attack. We don't have Magical Leaf anymore to bypass the accuracy. And as this battle goes underway, I have to say, I'm pretty surprised that we outspeed Mightyena. Mightyena is not the fastest Pokemon, and we hit with Sleep Powder, that's awesome. But still, we're not fast either. After one growth, we go for Giga Drain. That's great damage. It does wake up. Thankfully, goes for a takedown. I'll take the crit over a Sand Attack any day. Sydney uses a full restore, which is perfect because with Giga Drain's damage, we now have full health again. So we'll switch over to Hidden Power here and take out Mightyena. What a solid start. Well, next up is Shiftry, presumably because it has extra sensory, which is super effective against us, and it survives Hidden Power. I go for Growth expecting him to heal, but he doesn't, and goes for Swagger, so that's not good. Well, we don't hit ourselves and crit just to punctuate that point. Well, unfortunately for us, as Absol comes out, I mean, it does waste its turn with Snatch, but we hit ourselves. And then we hit ourselves a second time as it powers up. Goes for Slash, brings us to 34, but we snap out of Confusion. We're in Overgrow range, so that's an easy one-shot with Giga Drain. Also got a lot of health back. Next up, he sends out Cacturn. We're faster, and with the growth we have set up, yeah, that's a one-shot. Well, this fight's over because, well, Sharpedo's out, is faster. Thankfully doesn't crit with Crunch, that would have taken us out. And Giga Drain, no problemo. I have to say we got very lucky that Mightyena chose not to use Sand Attack. Kinda surprised by that because this Mightyena loves using it. But we're not out of the woods just yet because next up is Phoebe, and her first Dusclops has Curse, which she also loves to use on turn 1. Now, if I were a betting man, that's exactly what's going to happen. Now, if we put it to sleep, that won't be the case. Now we go for Sleep Powder, turn 1, and 25% chance to miss, we miss, and there's Curse! Oh boy, who called that one? Well, I did through the power of editing, but that was also my mindset in this fight, because again, she loves going for that on turn 1. Now, as the second battle starts, we put Dusclops to sleep. One more thing for us to worry about is that Pressure, its ability, doubles our power point usage, so using 1 power point means that we use 2 instead. Alright, we're done setting up for now. We go for Giga Drain just to test out damage, and does about 2/3. We finish it with the follow-up, but we have to be very mindful of our Giga Drain power points. We don't have many. So next up, she sends out Sableye, and not the worst thing ever. We can put it to sleep and set up some growths, but unfortunately it does wake up pretty early and hits us with a track. We know how annoying that move is from some fights earlier in this run. We do take a bit of damage off of Psychic, but thankfully we break through a track the second time around and one-shot Sableye with Giga Drain. Alright, the first of 2 Bayonets comes out, but doesn't matter. 1 Giga Drain's all she wrote. Next up is the second Dusclops. This one has Ice Beams, so that's why she sent that one out. Either way, Sleep Powder, no problemo. Hidden Power, and though it does good damage, and although it has a Citrus Berry, it's not enough to offset the follow-up, so down it goes. And, well, we won because the second Bayonet is almost identical to the first, besides its moveset, and down it goes with Giga Drain. Glacia's up next, and we're super effective against 3 of her Pokemon, but 2 of them Glalie pure Ice-type. Those could be a problem. The first one has Hail and Light Screen, so that could be especially annoying. And, well, to make matters even worse, Glalie is faster, hits us with Ice Beam for almost all of our health, and froze us solid. Oh, that was a great first try. Well, we're going to try that again because Glalie loves going for Hail on turn 1 because Gen 3, in addition to loving status, you'll know that from my Abra run, also loves setting up weather effects, and true to form, it sets up Hail, and we go for Sleep Powder. Whew, thankfully that hit. We're going to take a bit of a risk here, go for a single growth because we're not going to deal much damage to Glalie otherwise. Thankfully, it's been staying asleep so far. Giga Drain does about half, so that's good. Hopefully it stays asleep for one more turn. Thankfully, the follow-up deals just enough damage to take it out. So, next up is the first of 2 Cilios. We're able to put that bad boy to sleep. Thankfully, we are faster than this one. And Hail stock, meaning that if it wakes up, it's going to go for Hail instead of attacking us. With 2 growths, Giga Drain is an easy one-shot on Cilio number 1. As the second Cilio comes out, we'll repeat our strategy. Sleep Powder does connect, set up growth, and on our follow-up turn, might as well go for Giga Drain. Make sure this thing stays up because this one does no Blizzard, I believe. Well, never mind. Gotta set up 1 more growth, then go for Giga Drain. Glad we didn't get punished for that one. Well, as Walrein comes out past me, was like, yeah, let's go for Sleep Powder. We can definitely one-shot it with Giga Drain. And I do get punished for it. We miss, and we get one-shot by Blizzard. It gets the same type from it, too. So, yeah, that was going to guarantee that we fell. That was a heck of a mistake there. Holy mackerel.
So, gonna try again here. This time Glalie goes for Light Screen. That's okay. We put it to sleep. It's gonna run out Light Screen as we set up some growth. So we're gonna just set up growth mostly to deal more damage and wear out Light Screen. Glalie's now awake, nearly one-shots us with Ice Beam, but thankfully Sleep Powder does not miss, and Hail can't deal enough damage to take us out. With all of those growths set up, we're able to one-shot Glalie, which means we should be one-shotting our way all the way to the second one. Although, just hear me out, let's put Celio to sleep. That'll wear out the rest of the Hail turns and we can set up more growths. That way we're guaranteed to take out the second Glalie. And we're able to fully power up while Celio's snoozing. Thanks, girl. You're a real bro. Well, now we should one-shot everything else on this team, but time will tell. Out comes Celio 2, down goes Celio 2. And while Walrein might be her most powerful Pokemon, with all the growths we have set up, not even it is going to withstand Giga Drain with same type, and yeah, down it goes. Well, that's game. Thanks for playing, Glacia, and yeah, don't worry, Ice Beam is not going to freeze us here. You know what your prize is, Glacia? Disappointment! So next up is Drake, and with Ice-type hidden power, this team shouldn't be very hard, although we might have to level up a little bit thanks to our candies, because I suspect that, although we're 4 times effective against most of his team, some of them will outspeed us, and they are super effective against us. So, let's find out how that goes, shall we? Well, leading off with Shelgon's cool, because we can put it to sleep, and then we're going to set up a single growth. Well, I think that, and I'm like, you know what, better to go for 2, although I'm kind of iffy, because we really don't want Shelgon sticking around. It has Rock Tomb, and we don't need to be slower than we already are. Out comes the first Flygon. No surprise that it's faster. It's very fast, but it goes for Sandstorm, so we're fine. That means that Salamence and the second Flygon will also be faster. Oh boy. And as the second Flygon comes out, it is indeed faster. Does a ton of damage with Flamethrower. Probably should have gone for Giga Drain there to get some health back. I think that would have taken it out. Oh well. As Salamence comes out, we both get pelted by Sandstorm, and although the Citrus Berry brings us to about half, doesn't matter. It has Flamethrower, it's super effective against us, and it's Salamence, so yeah, down we go. Alright, so if you'll pardon me, I'm going to slap on the Everstone, and then finish off our rare candies to get to about level 63, where we should be faster than maybe Flygon. Yeah, sounding very confident there. And of course, Shelgon goes for Protect, but, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter too much because we can just use another Sleep Powder and put it to sleep. It's asleep, we go for Growth, it wakes up, goes for Rock Tomb, and thankfully that misses. We do not want a Speed Drop. Alright, it's back snoozing. It stays a snoozing. Go for Growth and going for Hidden Power because, again, we don't want Shelgon here. We want it gone as quickly as possible. And, well, we are still slower than Flygon. Not too surprised by that because it does have base 100 speed. And unfortunately, as the second Flygon comes out, it opts for Sand Attack, which causes us to miss our Giga Drain because of course it does. And he decides to double up on Sand Attack, so this is looking pretty bad. Flygon goes for Flamethrower, and this'll shock you, I know, but we miss with Giga Drain. I swear, Sand Attack is the most frustrating move in solo challenges. And as we try again, you know the strat. If we do miss with Sleep Powder and get hit by Rock Tomb, that's an immediate reset. Thankfully here, that does not happen, at least not yet. And gotta say, like clockwork, Shelgon does stay asleep for the entirety of us using Growth, and because we are faster, you know, Hidden Power, one shot, you know the drill. I know the drill. It's called Giga Drill Attack. And as the first Flygon comes out, I'm like, you know what, if we have to put up with Sand Attack now, might as well power up just a little bit more, because if we're going for broke, then we're going all the way. And things are going swimmingly until Flygon wakes up, goes for Fly, which causes us to miss Giga Drain. It hits us, thankfully no crit, and with how low we get brought, I think that's just enough for Overgrow. Either way, with all of our growths, yeah, bye-bye Flygon. As Flygon 2 comes out, it goes for Flamethrower, and with all of our growths and Overgrow now active, yeah, that's an easy one-shot, and a free heal, love it. And out comes Salamence, it goes for Fly. We might survive on a Sliver if it hits us. Well, we might, I say might, because, well, that's a critical hit, and that's all undone. Now, you might have thought just because we had Hidden Power Ice that this would be free, but nope, gotta factor in other things like speed as well. I mean, at the end of the day, we are still using a Bulbasaur who's very slow, and this entire team of dragons on Shelgon is pretty fast, so I'm expecting that Altaria will be quicker than us as well. And yeah, I figure might as well top off here. I was trying to do it at 63 just to get Bulbasaur a bit of a better score, but it just wasn't working out. I mean, unless Steven is like the most foobar thing ever, then Bulbasaur is going to just straight up annihilate Trico's score. And yes, even at level 68, Flygon is faster than us. That's a testament to our terrible base speed. Well, this is still good information because when we run Ivysaur here on this channel, I'll be sure to give it some carbos as well as calciums. Now, you guys know the deal with Shelgon and the 2 Flygons, so we'll just go right to Salamence, and by go straight to Salamence, I mean, I'll play it out like I always do with the other 3. But we'll talk about Salamence a bit, because it seems that Salamence likes going for Fly, which I guess I shouldn't be surprised by that. It's part Flying type, and with same type, it's going to deal the most damage to us. Now, I bring that up because as Salamence does come out, and it will go for Fly, I was surprised by this here as it goes for it, and of course we're going to miss because it's in the air. It comes down, and check this out. We have 11 health left, which is perfect because it actually goes first. So we're able to take it out with Hidden Power. Yeah, if we were 1 level lower, we would have gotten taken out by that. I'm very confident in that assessment. Now, I am surprised that we're faster than Altaria. I'm sure that we barely are, but still awesome. Okay, last up is the champion, Steven, and well, since he leads off with Skarmory, things are going to be a little complicated here because, of course, Sleep Powder starting off we have to because it has Aerial Ace and can pretty much solo us without Sleep Powder. But because it is a Steel Flying type, Giga Drain is double resisted, and Hidden Power will deal neutral damage, so we have to make sure that it stays asleep for as long as possible. Now, it can waste 1 turn with Spikes. Gotta take advantage of that turn while it lasts. We go for Sleep Powder, it connects, beautiful, Skarmory stays a snoozing, so we're gonna set up our first growth. Turn number 2, Bulbasaur growth, Skarmory stays asleep, awesome. Hey, look at that, 3 time is the charm, stays asleep, another growth. Now this turn, it does wake up and go for Spikes, but unfortunately, we miss with Sleep Powder. That was bound to happen eventually. And we miss the follow-up, and we get crit by Aerial Ace. See, Skarmory pretty much can't solo us. I don't even think the crit was necessary with how much damage it was dealing. Now, in this attempt here, I'm thinking we're going to set up some growths, and we're going to see how much damage Hidden Power does to Skarmory. That way we know how many growths we need to set up, how long Skarmory needs to stay asleep, and how lucky we have to be with Sleep Powder. And the results were fairly surprising. We didn't set up all that much, and turns out that Hidden Power Ice deals about 80% to Skarmory. That's not bad. I think that's just out of healing range. But yeah, it wakes up and we lose this attempt. But once we get by Skarmory, however, this will get a bit easier. I mean, Metagross does have Psychic, and that's going to hit like a Mack truck. Besides that, though, I don't see many problems here. So it turns out that it's going to play out here in a sec. We need 4 growths to one-shot Skarmory with Hidden Power, and you're going to see me try and put it to sleep because I actually wasn't sure if we would one-shot it, because I was like, well, if we don't one-shot it, it might be a damage range. Better play it safe. Well, playing it safe almost got us taken out. But thankfully, when we're brought down this low, yeah, it's time to just go for broke, and Hidden Power, 1 hit, all it takes. And you can tell I'm so tunnel-visioned right now that I don't realize that I do have Overgrow active, which is why I put Armaldo to sleep. But hey, better safe than sorry. And well, Claydol's next. That's an interesting choice, and perfect for us, because 1 Giga Drain is all she wrote. And we're back at full health now, so that's awesome. As Metagross comes out, we go for Sleep Powder, miss, and Psychic does 120 damage to us, so we better connect. We do, and I take a big risk with Growth. It pays off. We go for Giga Drain. With Overgrow, that was quite a bit of damage. The follow-up Giga Drain takes out Metagross, and I think we just won, guys. He only has Aggron and Cradily remaining, and he chooses to send out Aggron, which is fine. Being part Rock type, Giga Drain will deal neutral damage, and Aggron's special defense isn't that great, so yeah, that's a nice one-shot. And Cradily is weak to our Hidden Power, so we go for it, and you see the HP trickling down? Yeah. Wow, I mean, like, Jiminy Cricket, dude. Bulbasaur annihilated Trico. Bulbasaur this entire run was really awesome. We had an awesome egg move at the start. Not terribly overpowered, but good. Having utility like Leech Seed, Sleep Powder, and Growth just made Bulbasaur able to clear this out. I mean, under level 70, that's awesome for a first form starter. Okay, so we know that we're level 69, so we gotta check our final time here, because I'm real curious about this. Our final time as Bulbasaur turns out to be 5 hours and 16 minutes. And with results like that, that makes Bulbasaur extremely easy to rank. Level 69 is at the very end of B tier for our level up brackets. Now, its level is B tier and time is A tier, but I'm going to go with B tier because it almost did reach level 70. That and the reliance on sleep powder and being lucky for a good chunk of the run, I can't give it an A in sincerity, but B rank is still awesome. Next up is Torchic and Kanto. See ya guys there.